All right, let's take a second to talk about what cuts with what, right? We've talked about a couple of rules, the 180 rule, the 30-degree rule, and then there's just kind of some good taste rules. So obviously the 180 rule says that you can't cut between cameras that are on one side of the 180 and on the other side of the 180. So this is a no-no over here, right? 30-degree rule says don't cut anything that's less than 30 degrees different from each other. So on that same 180, a camera that's here and a camera that's here is not a good cut. It looks like a jump cut because we haven't moved enough. But we can get into this a little bit deeper here too. Changing the focal length, changing the angle, changing the subject. Those are the three things you can change in a shot. What are you looking at? From where are you looking at it? And with what size shot? So medium shot, close up, long shot, all those guys. Theoretically, a long shot and a medium shot of the same thing should cut together okay if you're also adhering to the 30-degree rule. If you do a straight in shot of a long shot, it's wearing a dress maybe, and a medium shot of the same subject, it can feel like a jump cut because we're looking at the same object. The cut is sort of, the attention is drawn to the cut. It's not ideal. If you change that angle on this one, let's just go ahead and change that to seeing it from a different viewpoint. Same guy. That is a little bit better, right? If we cut to something substantial, let's try something substantially different. This shot to this shot, and we're way up high looking down at the character. That's probably not a jump cut. Now, one thing that will make it feel like a jump cut is if that body is not in the exact same position. So that kind of positional continuity. Where are they in space? What's their pose? What direction are they looking? All those sorts of things should connect these two spaces because remember, a cut happens in an instant. So if something has changed in that moment, that looks like a jump cut too. All right, so focal length and angle are kind of both discussed in there. The saving grace for all of this is cutting away to something else. Whenever you change subjects completely, you're covered. So let's take this same scenario here. We've got shot 1 and shot 3. Let's say shot 2 is, an approaching tank. I don't know. It's up to something. Here comes the tank. If this were in here, that's going to work. If this were in here, it's going to work. There's always it's free money to take a shot of anything else and stick it in between. So if you find yourself looking at a cut where it just doesn't work, look for other characters' reactions. Look at what are they looking at. That's always a good place. Because we want to, again, recreate the experience of somebody who's in the scene. Here's this character looking around the world. They see a thing. We want to cut to what they see. So these are kind of some gimmies, really. So substantially change the focal length and make sure that you're throwing the 30-degree rule in it. Substantially change the angle. That could mean coming in from high or coming in from low, or certainly the focal length thing. But definitely positional. Positional angle is perhaps the most important thing. And then the subject. If we're changing the subject, always great. If we don't change the subject, we want to make sure that we have continuity of where they are in space, pose, direction, and so on. So you don't want to see characters leaping forward in time, like they have their hands down, then they have their hands automatically up. You don't want to see them changing radically in terms of position. He's sitting down, he's standing up, he's at the left side of the room, he's at the right side of the room, unless you then also insert some cutaway things. Now here's one of the sort of surprise things about cinema. Let's say we've got a character walking across a scene. I don't know why his legs are so lousy, but there he is. He's walking across scene. And to get across to the desk, it's going to take him like 10, 15 steps. And by the time he gets over here, this is a really long shot. Maybe he's going to sit down. What you can do to not have the audience watch this whole thing is to stick something in here and then eliminate some time. This is a way to alter pacing to really compress time. And you'd think it was a cheat, but because you're getting a cutaway in there, it's legal. So what can you cut to with something like this? Can't think of a really good one. Let's see, what would be logical? Well, somebody else in the room. So let's say his boss is wondering why he's late. He's sitting at the desk. Johnson, why are you late? He says. In here. Eyeline's over here. He's looking at him. Johnson, why are you late? This is a cutaway that allows us to take a bunch of time out of here. So he starts the line here. Johnson, why are you late? Late is occurring by here. And we can take all of that middle out because we've cut to his boss and we've covered that gap. If you don't have the character, then you're a little bit screwed. An angle change can hide it if he's moving laterally in the wide shot and he's moving towards the desk in the subsequent shot. You might be able to leap forward in time. That's a big change of angle that can hide some space. If you change to a real big close-up of the guy as he's in motion, that can be a focal length change that can hide the time that you're trying to get out of there. The always free one, though, is a clean frame. Clean frame assures that, all right, so you got the wide shot, the guy's walking, you cut to an empty shot of the desk. Chair's here, he's ready to sit down. Man, walking man, is not in the shot at all, but he enters the shot from a clean frame. Then you can take out all that gap because you don't know how fast you walked across the hall or the room. You do have to have a little bit of realism in there. You can't teleport across the state, but it's amazing what you can get away with cutting to something else, clean frames, all of those sorts of things. Cinema has the magical ability to sort of bend time.